Okay, you represent Africans, myself included, of course. You're representing us. Okay, what do you aim to achieve now? You are here. Of course, there's a lot of history that is lost, that is unknown, that has been distorted about the indigenous people of Africa, in particular, because we're in South Africa.
Yes.
So what do you aim to achieve?
Wow. That question is a very broad question. The political climate in Africa is that of occupation, invasion and occupation.
Yes.
The indigenous people were invaded by European forces.
Yeah.
From time immemorial, that history is there.
Yeah.
We are hoping to rewrite the truth of the indigenous people,
Yes.
their systems, their customs, their traditions,
Yes.
their culture, their humanity, and their connection to their God. This is what we represent and what we are hoping to achieve.
Touching a point of they were invaded. There was, well, we all know, invasion of Africa by different, in our case, the Dutch. I'm not sure. We were first invaded in 1652, or this is the first recorded arrival of whites? I mean, there's a difference. Was it the first time that a white man set his foot on the piece of land that today is known as Western Cape in South Africa?
Yeah.
Or this was the first recorded event? There have been occupations before? I don't know.
My brother, that is the misinformation of European media, European authority, for a particular reason. For those who know history, they will go back to the Battle of Salt River.
Yeah.
Salt River is in the Western Cape.
Yes.
On the 1st of March, 1510,
Okay.
when General de Almeida tried to occupy Goreng Haikwa Kingdom.
Yes.
Goreng Haikwa, it's a nation that today is called the Khoi, which is a misrepresentation as well.
Okay.
They are not Khoi, they are Goreng Haikona. That was after the invasion edict of dam diversers of the 18th of June 1452 that instructed the European monarchs to invade, to conquer, to fight and subjugate the indigenous monarchs.
Mm-hmm. So that's where the whole thing of occupation of Africa started.
Exactly.
1452.
1452.
Okay.
Now, subsequent to dam diversers, there was Romanus Pontifex of the 18th January 1454, which instructed the European monarchs or the European power to invade, search out, underline that, search out, capture, vanquish, and subdue all the indigenous monarchs
Yeah.
and to take all their kingdoms, their dominions, their movable and immovable property away from those people.
Yeah.
Now, this edict brought about the doctrine of discovery,
Okay.
which was made law in America and throughout the world, which says those Christian forces that invaded the indigenous people,
Yeah.
when they go into the territory and those people are not Christians,
Yeah.
now those people are non-existent, they don't exist. So they have discovered that place. How can you discover the place that was there when it's inhabited by people? How do you do that?
Yeah.
Now, this doctrine of discovery set the tone for constitutionalism in the world,
Yeah.
including our own constitution in South Africa.
Okay.
The Constitution of South Africa is based on the doctrine of discovery.
Yeah.
That is why we have to be constituted by that law. But then, remember, the indigenous monarchs were there.
Yes.
The Goringhaikwa was there.
Yes.
The Zulu kingdom was there.
Yes.
Abatembu were there. Amampondo Mise were there.
Yeah.
Baroka, where I was born, were there.
Yeah.
Bahula were there. Amahlubis were there. Those were the indigenous states of that time in terms of the Montevideo Convention, in terms of the characteristics of states.
Okay.
So the Europeans, they used the doctrine of discovery to annul us and for them to impose what they've imposed to the present day South Africa.
Yeah. Yeah.
South Africa is an identity imposed on us. We are not South Africans. It's either we are Zulu or Singabatembu or Baroka
Yeah.
or Bahula or we Goringhaikwa. We are not what they say we are. That's a wrong identity.
Yeah, because fast forward to 1910, the establishment of the Union of South Africa, the indigenous people were left out of those discussions when the British and the Boers decided that, look, let's come together, let's form one country.
You're bringing a very interesting subject. Remember that I don't call them Boers. I don't even call them Afrikaner. I call them Dutch because that's the right identity. And they are not Boers. Boer means farming in Dutch. So that's not an identity. Afrikaner means African. They are not African, they're Dutch. So they can never be called Afrikaner. They are Dutch. Now, when the Dutch came here, they established what they established after they fought with the Goringhaikwa.
Yeah.
And the British came in. When the British came in, they started, weighing their power struggle on indigenous territories, two foreigners coming into your land and start fighting for your land and without you being involved.
Yeah.
So remember, history says those who came here from Holland, they were prisoners. Now, then they became free beggars, meaning that free citizen. Burger in Dutch means citizen.
Yeah.
Now, they became free citizen, free Dutch citizen on Goringhaikwa soil, right? Then when the British came, they started having this fight, between the Dutch and the British, to an extent where now the British bought land from the Dutch, the land that belongs to Goringhaikwa. Very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
When the wars ensued, they moved away looking for new lands. The Dutch, the Dutch folks. Then they were called Voortrekker.
Yeah.
They trekked, meaning they left the Western Cape inland.
Inland, yeah.
Where they found Basotho. Where they found the San Basotho. They invaded those territories.
Yeah.
Then they put the authority there. The Orange Free State.
Yeah.
So they became free from the British in the Western Cape, and they called the land of Basotho Oranje Vrystaat.
Yeah, Orange Free State as it was, yeah.
And they even got a permission to name that territory Orange, because Orange comes from Orange Nassau, which is the Kingdom of Orange in Holland, which now calls for questioning what Oranje means. Oranje comes from orange. So it's basically another Dutch invasion on indigenous territories,
Yeah.
So, my brother, the whole thing about the European invaders, it was a planned thing. It was not an accident. I'm connected to various indigenous monarchs.
Yeah.
I often ask them, did you invite those people to come over here? Did you send them an invitation letter or something like that? I mean, maybe we might be wrong when we are trying to deal with these issues.
Yeah.
Did you invite them? They said no. Did you give them any rights? No. They invaded us.
Yeah.
And the wars are there to be shown in terms of prove that point. So nothing of their existence on our territory has been permitted by us as indigenous people. But obviously, they took advantage of our humaneness, that we welcome visitors. It's our nature as indigenous people, as Africans. It's how God created us.
Yeah.
And they misused that humanity. And they turned us into settlers on our own territory. I mean, you go to Western Cape.
Yeah.
Goringhaikwas are nowhere to be seen in the conversation. The owners of the land are nowhere to be seen. And everyone is claiming that land. Now, recently you've got those who want Western Cape to be independent. And you look at them, it's not even Goringhaikwa. They are the people who invaded Goringhaikwa's territory. They want independence from who?
Okay.